Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Zuli. In this tutorial, we're going to create this portfolio website we're seeing on the screen. This is the navigation. You can see we have a button and we have the navigation links. Okay. And this is the name of the user. You can change the name. This is the home section where we have the name, we have some little text, number of clients served, years of experience, the picture, and we have two buttons for portfolio and hire me. Okay, so if we scroll down to the service section, we have the image and we have the services that this lady renders. Okay, and some text in here. We have some text, and if we scroll to the resume, which is the experience and education, it has two categories for experience. This is the experience web developer remote. Okay, this are the list of experience. You can add more to yours, and this is the education. For this education category, we have the year, the type of education, and the place where they got access to it. Okay, and if you scroll to the portfolio section, if you hover on each of the projects, this is what we have. You're going to see the title. Now if we go to the customer's feedback, this is what we have, which is a client review, the customer's name, the company, and a little text with the image as well. Okay, so now to the contact. If we look at the contact, you're going to see the mail, the contact form itself, where they can send you a message, and this is the footer section. Okay, so if you click on any of the navigation link, it's going to take you directly to the components. Okay, let's click on resume. This is what we have. If we click on portfolio, it's going to take us directly to portfolio. All right, so that's just what we're building. This is what we're building. Just take a look at it again. This is what we'll be building here. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to do, I'm going to delete this asset folder, and I'm also going to delete the app.cxs, and then I'm going to clean up the app.jsx. Okay, delete all of this, and the index.css as well. I'm going to clean it up. And next thing is to create a component folder where we'll be having each of our components. Okay, I'll create a new asset folder and I will add this image you're seeing on the screen. You can add yours, replace it with yours. Okay, this is the assets that we'll be using. Then in our component, okay, let me show you. This is what we have, the images for the project. Okay, and this is the data we'll be working with. You get to see them better when we start using each of data's in it. Okay, now we'll create another a component for the navbar. Then we're also going to create, this is for the navbar, then we'll create for the home component, the home folder, sorry. Then we'll create a service folder. Okay, and we'll create resume folder, and then we'll create the portfolio folder, and we'll create the client, which is the feedback folder, feedback components. Okay, and we'll create the contact folder and the footer folder. So this is the contact folder and the footer components. Okay, create footer components. Then we would install React icons. Okay, go to the terminal. On the new terminal, while the installation is going on, we're going to install React parser. Okay, we'll use it to pass the HTML and render HTML string as React element. So we'll create the navbar.jsx. Okay, and we'll create the navbar.csx. Okay, so we're going to import the CSS component for this navbar so we can style it. and we're going to include this in our app.jsx, which is going to show in our browser. Okay, so if we check our browser, let's do npm run dev so we can view what we'll be building in our browser. This is what we have, the navbar. Okay, so let me reduce this now to the navbar component. So we're going to create nav.navbar. The class name is nav, and we're going to start with the div.navigation. Then we'll have, for the header, we're going to have an h2 element for the nav logo, and the logo is the name of the user, Chloe Gates. You can replace it with yours, and we're going to create our nav link. In the link, we're going to have lists, 4 lists, and it's going to contain links using the a tag. And this is it. We have home. We'll create another link. Let me open this so you can understand. Copy, and let's just paste it. Okay, do the same thing here, and we're going to do the same thing in the last link as well. Then we'll change the content in it. This is going to contain services. Oh, that was a capital letter. Services. This is going to contain resume, and this will have portfolio. They will change the name that will be displayed, services, resume, and this is going to take portfolio. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, so this is what we're trying to build, but this is what we have currently. The next thing we need to add is the button. So I'm going to create a div section for the button, and the class name is btn. So we have button that will contain hire me. So this is what we have currently. Now we're going to style this. Okay, so let's move to the indexes CSS and just set our margin to 0, padding to 0. I'll cancel that. Then we'll start by styling the navbar CSS. So the first thing we'll start with is the navigation. The class name that has navigation is going to display flex, line item, the center, justify content, space between. Okay, the height we're going to set it to 60 pixel, and the width is going to be 90%. The margin left, we want it to move a little bit from the left by 50 pixel. I want margin at the top 10 pixel, border radius of 30 pixel, and background color of black. So this is what we have currently. Okay, but this is what we're trying to build. Let's continue. I'm also going to add box sizing, box shadow of 5 pixel, 5 pixel, 8 pixel, and this color code. Okay, so this is what we have. As you can see, it's the same thing. Now the next thing that we need to do is style the nav logo. Okay, so .nav logo, we're going to add the font size of 35 pixel, font width of 600. We're going to have the color white, and our margin left 24 pixels. Okay, you can see. Then we'll style this span, which has gates. Okay, .nav logo span. The color is going to be orange. That's the color we're working with. As you can see, it's the same thing. Now we're going to style the nav links. Okay, the nav links, the lists in the nav links. So we're going to use display flex, as you can see that. Then we'll do the list, each of the lists. So copy this, paste, and li tag. Okay, justify contents, paste around. One space around it. We're going to add some margin. The list style none, we don't want any dot on it. The font size will be 18 pixels. Font width will be 600, and we're going to set the color to white as well. Okay, the color is not showing currently, so we need to style the A tag. So we're going to use color orange. So let's see the text decoration. We're going to set it to none as well. So let's see what we have. This is what we have now. Okay, so we want to set the hover. So when you hover on it, the color will change to orange red. and the cursor set to pointer. You can see this is what we have here. Next thing we want to style is the button. Okay, now we're going to have the btn, then the button tag itself. We're going to set the width to 120 pixels, the height to 550 pixels, the margin we're going to set it to 30 pixels for the margin right, then the border radius 25 pixels. The background color is going to take orange as well. The color in it is going to be white, that's the text color. Then the font size is going to be 16 pixels, the font weight 600, and this is what we're dealing with. Now let's work on the hover effect. So when there's mouse on it, it should transform on a scale of 1.1. Okay, let's see. You can see it's working well. So we're done with the navbar. Now to the home section. So let's cancel this navbar.gss, navbar.css. In the home section, we're going to create our home component and the home.css. In the home component, we're going to use the rfc and we'll import the home.css. Okay, so we'll also include it because we want the home component to show in our browser. Okay, if we check, okay, in the asset folder we're using the image of the lady. Okay, I'm just showing you what is in there. So we'll start with div the home, then we need an id for home, then we're going to start with the header. We're going to use the h1 tag, and we're going to have this text. I am Chloe Gates. We use the break tag, software developer. Okay, after the header, as you can see, this is what we have now. We're going to have the home container. We have the left, the middle, and the right. Okay, the left is this little text, the middle is the image, while the right is the years of experience. Okay, then we have up and down at the left, so that's why we have this. Okay, this is up, so this is the text up. We use the paragraph tag, and let me just shift it in. Okay, and for down we have the number of clients served. Okay, this is it. And now to the middle, where we have the semi shape and we have the image as well. So we're going to import this lady.png image into our JSX file. So we import it from assets folder and we use lady.png because that is the name of the image. So we'll come back to this image tag and use this. Okay, this is the image of the lady. Now to the right part, we have 3 stars. As you can see, star.png. We're going to import the star from our asset folder. This is star.png. Now we're going to import it here. Image tag is going to take star. Okay, and we're going to have we have the right text, which is the years of experience. Okay, we use h3 tag for the experience, so it will be a little bit smaller than the year itself. Then we have, after the whole section, we have 2 different buttons. Okay, the portfolio button and the hire me button. Okay, we have a little error here. Let's see. Okay, that's supposed to be a slash. Alright, now let's go to styling. So we'll start with the home. We'll set it to 80 VH. The width is 100%. Now we'll start with the header in the home. So we're going to set the font size to 30 pixels. Font weight 600. Text align center. Okay, as you can see. Okay, we need to add the break tag here. So that's it. So we'll continue with the home header. The span, the color, we're going to set it to orange. See, it's the same thing. And also there is the E missing. And we're going to continue styling. We style our home container, which contains the left, middle, and right. So we're going to set the display to flex. Align item center. We want all the items in the center. We're going to add a little padding in line of 100 pixels, height of 70 VH, and position to be relative. Margin top, we're going to add minus 40 pixels. As you can see, this is what we have now. Alright, so let's start with the left. So for this left, we're going to set the display to grid. Then we use grid template column 1FR and the gap of 50 pixels. This is what we have now. After setting that, we start with this up and the paragraph. So the left, the up and p tag, then the down for the p tag as well. We're going to set the font size to 20 pixels. Now we need to style the down part for the H2. We're going to set the font size to 30 pixels and the font width to be 600. Okay. So the next thing we need to do now is for this p tag as well, we need to use a little margin at the top with 10 pixels. Now we're going to style this middle and we'll start with the image. Okay, we'll set the width to 500 pixels. We'll set the height to 500 pixels as well, and the position is going to be relative. Okay, can you see what we have here? And we're going to style this semi-shape. We're going to create this. So the middle does semi-shape. The content is none. Nothing is in the content. The position will be absolute. Then we're going to add some background color of orange. Nothing is showing now because we're here to add the width and height. So we have width of 500 pixels, height of 280 pixels, as you can see. Then we're going to add a border radius of 50%, 50%, 0, 0, 100%, 100%, 0, 0. So that's going to form a semi-shape for us. Now we need to move the semi-shape downwards. So we're going to have margin top of 220 pixels. That is it there. Then the margin left of 5 pixels. Okay. Next thing we need to style now is the right section. Okay. We want to align the items. We want every item to be at the center, and the margin left to be 190 pixels. Okay. So the other thing we need to do here is the text itself. We'll set the font size to 30 pixels, font weight to 600. The next thing we need to do is the right the H3. Okay, margin top of 10 pixels, margin left of 30 pixels. That should work. Let's see. Yes, it works. And we need to add this line here using the HR tag. Then we'll style the HR tag, the right HR. Okay. We'll add some background color, we'll set it to black. Let's see, an height of 1 pixel should do it. The width of 130 pixels, yeah, is going to work. And margin top of 10 pixels. Okay. We're getting there. The next thing is the image. The image tag itself, we need to resize the image. It's taking space. So the width, we're going to set it to 100 pixels. The height is going to take 20 pixels. Okay. As you can see, we have the same thing. Okay. Then the next thing we need to style is the buttons. So we're going to style the button container, and it will have a margin top of -90 pixels. Okay. And the margin left of 480 pixels because we want it in the middle. And the position will be relative, Z index of 1. Then the button itself, we're going to have some background color of orange. I'm going to have color scheme, and we have our border radius to be 50 pixels. We'll set our border to none. Now we want a width of 150 pixels for each of the buttons, and we have the height of 55 pixels. Let's set the font size to 16 pixels and set the font width to be 600. And we're also going to set the cursor to pointer. And we want, let's see, transition, 3 seconds. This is what we have now. Okay, so we're going to start with this button, the hover effect. Let's open the hover effect. Transform, we're going to add a scale of 1.1. That means if you hover on it, so I have a scale of 1.1. Now we're going to choose each of the buttons, okay, using the nth child. This is the first button we are choosing, the portfolio button. So it takes nth child of 1. We want to set the border. We want to add 2 pixels to the border, and we want it to be white. Set the color to white. Now let's style the second child of the button, which is the higher me button. The background color, we want it to be white. The color of the text, we want it to be black. So I'm going to, so let me set the border to 2 pixels solid black. Yes. The margin left of 15 pixels, so there will be space between the 2 buttons. Okay, it's the same as what we're trying to replicate. Okay, and we can still style this end child a little bit, the link on it. Okay, we want to set the color to be white. Now to the index of CSS, we need to have text decoration on, because the link text has an underline. Now you can see it's gone. Okay, this is what we have. Now let's cancel this and let's move to the service section. So in this service section, we're going to have the service.jsx and service.csx. So we're going to have RFC. Then we'll import the service.csx file that we've created. Okay, and we're also going to add it in our app.jsx so that to show on our browser. So now for the service section, you can see it there. We're going to start, we'll give it we'll give the container name services, and we'll give it an ID of services. Okay, we'll start with the service header. And the service header, we're going to have an H3 for the service title, which is my services. Okay, and we need to have an HR tag. Okay, next thing we need to do is to create the service container. Then we have left and right in the service as well. Okay, so this is the right. On the left we have an image, so we're going to use an img tag. Then we'll import the image of the lady. Import lady from our asset folder, lady.png. Okay, and now to the right section. So if we check our data.gsx, we have an array for service, an array of objects. Okay, this is the details, the head and the text. So we'll map over the service array, and we use the destructuring syntax to destructure this head and text in the maps function callback. Okay, then we use this arrow function. Now we need to import this array into our components. So we use import services from this asset folder, this data. That, as you can see, if you hover over it, you have those there. Then we want to return the properties we have destructured. So let's create our HTML structure for it so we can style it. We have our service, this class name of service. Okay, let's continue. Here we need to add a, so it won't be confusing. Okay, so this is going to be service header. We'll create this for service header, and the service header we're going to have the class name for service header. Okay, we're going to use this property we have destructured. Okay, we're going to use it here, and we're going to have for the service text, and this is service body. I'm going to use the p tag for service text. The class name is service text, so we use the text that we've destructured. Okay, so this is what we have now. Okay, now let's style it. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to style this class name. I'm going to add a width of 100%. We're going to set the height to 100 VH and margin top of 50 pixels, so it will come down a little. And we're also going to add a background color of this color code. We use this color code for our background color. This is what we have now. I'm going to set the border radius of 30 pixels. Okay. Now to the service header, let's style it. So we want to set the text to the center, and we're going to have the service itself, the title itself, the h3 tag. So we'll set the font size to 40 pixels, and the span, we're going to set the color to orange. Okay, it's looking all good. The next thing we need to do is this HR tag. We're going to style this HR tag. So we set the width to 60 pixels and the height to 2 pixels, border radius of 3 pixels, and background of black. And our margin left, we'll set it to 610 pixels. Margin top should be 5 pixels. Okay, that's good. Then the next thing is the service container. We need to style the container itself that contains the content of our service. display grid template column. I want to set it to repeat to 1FR. Okay, that is looking all good. Now we'll add our margin top to be 50 pixel, so to come down a little. Next thing we want to style is this left service. Okay, for the left service, we're going to style margin left to 70 pixel. Then the image itself, let's set the width to, let me say, 360 pixel. That should work. Height of 480 pixels. Okay, then the border radius, this is the border radius we're using. Okay, then we're setting to the border to 2.5 pixel dashed black. Okay, so this is what we have, and we need to start the right service. Okay, and the display should be grid template column of 1FR. And we'll set the gap to 30 pixels and the margin right to be 30 pixels as well. Okay, for the service header, we're going to have the width. Let's set the width to 250 pixels. The height should be 30 pixels. The background orange, and border radius of 15 pixels. Okay, looking good. Then the next thing is this service header. We have an H3 tag there, so the text align center. And now we're going to start the service body. So in this body container, we'll set the width to 500 pixels. Let's set the height to 100 pixels, and I will set the background color white, and I want the border radius of 10 pixels. Box shadow, we need a little shadow of 5 pixels. Okay, we're going to use this value for orange. Okay, the next thing, the surface body, the P tag, we're going to, okay, can you see? It's looking like it. We've set the paragraph. We had a little margin left to 15 pixels. Okay, now we're done with that. Let's go to the resume. So we're going to create the resume.gsx. Then we're going to have the resume.csx. So refce, then we'll import resume.css. Okay, then we include the resume components in our app.gsx. Okay, as you can see, now to our resume. We're also going to create the resume item components, resume item.gss, refce, and okay, let's start with that. The first thing we need to do, let's go over the data, this resume data. Okay, this is the resume array where we have different objects. Now to the resume item, let's start with div.resume item. Let's create our HTML structure. So we have, now let's create the resume. We'll start with the resume icon. Okay, now with the structure, the 4 props. Okay, so this functional component that we've created, okay, this is it. Okay, these are the props that will be structured in here. Okay, this component is taking 4 props, which will render in our component, that will return in our component. Okay, so that's just what I'm trying to do here. And okay, let's see, for the H3, you're going to see later in the browser, this is the resume item. So we'll create a subtitle. Okay, and from the data we have, this is why we installed HTML React parser. okay, to render HTML strings as React elements. So we're going to pass, okay, we're going to pass this title, okay. Remember we installed React Parser. So now we're going to import the parts from what we have installed before so that we can pass this particular HTML string. Okay, next thing is to create our p tag for the resume description. Okay, so we have this in here. And now to the resume itself, we're going to import this resume, the data, the resume array, the data is in the resume array. We've imported it. I'm also going to import the resume item component into the resume component itself. So we'll create our HTML structure, which is this. We'll have our h2 tag for the title. Okay, that's experience and education. And an education, yeah. Then we're going to create another div tag for the resume container. Inside the resume container, we're going to create another div tag for the resume data. Okay, which is going, now we're going to map the resume array, okay, for the data we have in data.gsx. Okay, so now we're going to use an if statement to check the category property of each object in the resume array. So now we want to check if is equal to experience. Okay, it's going to render this. Okay, and we'll do for education also. So if the value of the category is equal to the experience, we're going to return the resume item component with the props, okay, using the spread operator. This is what we're going to, okay, let me cancel this. Let's redo and understand it. Okay, we have two categories. We have for experience and education. Okay, so we're going to we're mapping an array over the resume. We're mapping over an array called resume, which we have created in the data.js. Okay, so we want to check if the category is equal to the experience, is equal to the category experience, and then we're going to return the resume components with the props. Okay, using the spread operator. Now we use the spread operator to return the props that we've created in the resume item. Okay, we'll do the same thing for education. This is another category, education. Okay, so we're going to replace the experience here with education. Okay, so this is what we have now. And this is what we're trying to build. This is what we have currently. Now let's style the CSS. Okay, we'll start with resume, the resume. We're going to set the margin left to be 20 pixels. Then we'll start the resume title. So text align, let's set it to center. The margin bottom, let's set it to 50 pixels. The font size 30, the margin top 30 pixels. Okay. And let's start the resume container. Okay. Display, I want it to display grid. Repeat to 1FR. As you can see, we have the categories separate now. Align items, flexed ads. Next thing to style is the resume item itself. So we're going to set the position to relative. We're going to add some padding left of 60 pixels. And the next thing we want to style is the resume item. We're going to use this, not the last child. Okay. The margin bottom. We're going to set it to 50 pixels. And also, let's set this before here. The content to be none, the position absolute, and the inset block 0, left 20 pixels. And let's just add a border left of 1 pixel solid with this color code. Okay, as you can see, there's a line now. That's what we're trying to create. Now we're going to style the resume icon. We're going to set the position to absolute, the left of 0, top 0, we set it up to 0, set the background color to orange, and we're going to set the color to white, and the width of 40 pixels, and let's set the height to 40 pixels as well, and the border radius will be 50%, and the text, let's set it to center. The line height is going to be 40 pixels. Okay, so this is what we have currently, and we need to set the resume dates as well. So this resume date, we're going to add some padding of 2 pixels, 10 pixels, the border radius of 20 pixels. We're going to add some font style, 12 pixels, the font weight, let's set it to 600, and the background color of this color code. Okay, and the resume subtitle, let's style the resume subtitle. We're going to add font size of 30 pixels, should do it, so it's too big. Just font of 30 pixels. Okay, let's see the font weight, let's set it to 600 also. Now let's change it to 500, that should work. The margin block, we'll set it to 2010, you can see. And this span tag here, this is why we installed React Parser, so we're styling it now. The title, that's what we're styling now. We're going to add some padding left of 26 pixels. The color, let's set it to this color code. It should be 50%. As you can see, the color has changed. Now we want to add a line in between, so the content will be none, the position will be absolute, left 7 pixels, top 9 pixels, width, let's set it to 10 pixels. Yeah, the height will be 2 pixels. Then the background color is going to be this color code. Okay, as can you see that? Okay, now for the description, let's set the font size to 16 pixels, and for this resume item, we're going to change the margin bottom. We're going to set it to 30 pixels, so there will be space in between each data. Let's see, 40 pixels should do it. Yeah, 40 pixels should do it. Okay, we're done with that. Next thing we want to create is the portfolio. REFCE, create the portfolio.csx. Okay, so we're going to import the CSS file into the portfolio.jsx. Okay, then we'll include the portfolio component in our app.jsx component. Okay, so this is what we have currently. So let's clean this up. And we're also going to create the portfolio item file. Okay, this is going to take RFCE. Okay, I'm going to delete that. And we'll start with our HTML structure. We're going to create for the portfolio item. We create this. Okay, this is our data, our portfolio array. Okay, this component is going to take 3 props: the image, the title, and the details. Okay, now for the image, we're going to start with the image first, and to have a class name of portfolio image. Then we're going to create a div tag for this hover effects. So when you hover on the portfolio, on the project, you're going to see the portfolio title. Okay, you're going to see the portfolio title. You're not going to see the details yet. You're only going to see the details when you click on it. We'll get there soon. Now, we created the portfolio details, and we'll create another div component for the detail content. Okay, and now we're going to create the image that you would see in the content. Okay, let's create this close image first. Like when you see the content, you can close the content. You can click on this close. Okay, so this is it. And next thing is to create the portfolio detail header. Let's say the detail title, and it's going to take title, the same title that we've destructured there. Now we'll create a list with the name portfolio list, which is this list here in the details array. Okay, now we're going to map over the details array. Okay, and we'll destructure these 3 props. Okay, yeah, we'll destructure this tree. It's going to take 3 props: icon, title, and description. I'm going to destructure it. Then let me delete this. Then we're going to create an arrow function that would return the HTML structure we'll create below. So we're going to create the list for each. So it's going to take, the class name is going to be detail item. Okay, and the item is going to take, the first thing is going to take the first thing on our list. Let's use a key. Okay, we're going to destructure this index as well. Okay, let's start with span details.icon. So we have this icon here. The icon is going to return the property that we've destructured. Okay, so we're going to have the title as well. And we have the details text, which is going to take the description. Okay, and now we need the image, the detail image. That is the content image that you would see when you click on it. Okay, that is what you would see when you click on it. So let's move to portfolio.jsx. So we have our section, we have our h2 tag, portfolio title, which is my portfolio. Next thing we need to do is to create another div tag for portfolio container. And we also need to, this is the array that we're working with. Okay, let's map. We're going to map over the portfolio array. We're also going to import the data first. Okay, so it will be easy to map. So we're going to map over, you can see. Okay, this is what we have in here, and that's the same thing. Okay, so let's map over the portfolio array, and it will take one props, which is item. So, and it's also going to return, well, let's import the portfolio item component. So it's going to return the portfolio item component. Okay, that's why we imported it first. Okay, and we'll set the key to item.id, the ID of the item, and we're going to spread it using the spread operator. We're going to spread the props that the portfolio item has destructured. Okay, so this is everything. It's not styled yet, that is why it's looking like this. Okay, so okay, this is the icon that I just showed now in the browser, the title and the description. Okay, this is the icon, the title, and the description. And that's the same thing we have in our data. Alright, that's the same thing we have, the icon from React icon. At the beginning of the video, we installed React icon. Okay, so this is what we have here. This is the images and a little description about each of this. Okay, let's start it. So we're going to start with the portfolio class name itself, the margin top of 30 pixels, the height, let's set it to 70 VH, padding of 20 pixels. Okay, and the portfolio title, text align, let's set it to center, margin top of 10 pixels, font size of 40 pixels. Okay, then we'll style this as well. The color, we'll set it to orange. Now to the portfolio container, which contains the content. So display grid. We want it to display three in each column. So we're going to add a gap of 30 pixels. It's not going to show yet because we're not done styling, but that's what we're going to have at the end of the day. So now to the portfolio item, we'll start with this portfolio item. Position, we'll set it to relative. Then the border radius of 10 pixels on each side. Overflow hidden. And cursor set to pointer. So when you're on it, the cursor is set to pointer. Okay, let's start the portfolio image. Okay, the height will be 250 pixels. Let's set that. The width 100%, and the object fit to cover. Vertical align, let it be in the middle. Okay. Middle, yes, that is working. And this portfolio hover, so when you hover on it, we should see the title. So the background color, we'll set it to orange. The position absolute. Let's set the inset to 0. And as well, we'll add our display grid. We'll place the item in the center. And opacity, we'll set it to 0. And the transition, all 0.5 is. Also, for 5 seconds is KE. Let's see. What's wrong? Okay, let's continue. So we're going to have, let's set this portfolio item over. Okay, opacity, we'll set it to 1. Then the portfolio title, we'll set the color to white. The font size, we need it to be 18 pixels, and the font weight, we'll set it to 500. And translate y minus 20 pixels. Let's say the transition, we're going to use this same transition. So if you hover on it, this is what we have. Okay, if you hover on the portfolio item itself, that's what we have. And now for the item over and the title, we need to transform it to 0. That's when you leave it. So let's work on this. We're going to create a state variable, details and set details using the useState hook, and we're going to initialize the value to false, which indicates that, okay, this is useState. It indicates that the detail is hidden. Okay, this will be used to control the visibility of the detail window. Okay, and also we're going to create an arrow function here for toggle details that toggles the value of the detail state when it is called. Okay, and we'll achieve that by using this set details function. So if the details is false, it will set it to true. Okay, so now for here, we're going to add an onClick function for the toggle details. So this means that if the toggle detail, if the details is false, it would not show the details. Now for this close, let's see. Yes, for this close, there's image as well. Let's add the details close, and we're going to add an onClick function as well for the toggle details. Okay, so that means that if you click on the cancel button, the details will be hidden. Okay, now another thing we need to do is use this logic to render the content inside the parentheses. Okay, we're going to use this logical operator and we'll render this content inside these parentheses. Okay, so if the details is set to true, it's going to show the details. That means if you click on it and the details is set to true, it will show the details. Now let's continue our styling. We'll continue with this portfolio. Let's place the item to the center. We're styling the portfolio details actually. So we add some padding of 15 pixels, Z index of 100, and the background color, we use this color code. Okay, and another thing we need to let's see what we have. Okay, so this is what we have. As you can see, if I click on this, the details is not going to show again. Okay, that's the advantage of this logic. Okay, so as you can see, if you click on it, if you hover on it, this is what we have. We did that the other time. Okay, as you can see, this is working fine. So let's start the portfolio detail content. We're going to add the max width of 650 pixels, the width of 100%, padding 32 pixels, and we are going to have the border radius of 10 pixels. Position, we'll set it to relative. The background color, we're going to use this color code. Yeah, and So you can see this. You see, if we cancel this, we don't see it anymore. Okay, we don't see the details again. So now let's start the close icon itself. Position, let's set it to absolute. The top minus 3.5%. The right, let's set it to minus 8.5%. And the width, very important, 50 pixels. And the filter, we're going to have invert or 0.8. You can see that is what we have. That's what I'm talking about. So if we click on this, you're not going to see the details again. Okay, that's the idea behind the logic and the variable, the state variable created. Now to the detail title, we're going to set this text font size of 18 pixels. You can see that. And we're also going to have this color to be orange red. Okay. Then we're going to have margin bottom of 24 pixels. We want those ones to shift down. And now to the portfolio lists, which is all of this. Okay. So we'll start with display. As a display grid, template column, repeat, 2FR, 1FR, gap of 30 pixels, margin bottom up. You can see that. Okay. Then let's see. Row gap of 30 pixels. No. Alright. That's also working. Okay. This is better. Let's say with 10 pixels. Okay, now we'll style it one by one. The list items. Okay. So we'll list down none. We don't want that dot. Okay, that is gone. Then we'll start styling each of them. The detail item, we're going to display their flex. Then align items, the center, then column gap of 8 pixels. The next is the detail icon. Okay, display flex as well. Then the next thing is the detail title and the detail text. Okay, so back to our CSS file. Detail text, we're going to add font weight of 600. Then the detail title with this detail text here, we'll style it together because we want them to share the same color. Okay, let's see orange. Is it going to work? Font size of 18 pixels. Nah. Okay, this is still better. The next thing we want to do is this detail limit. As you can see from the screen, from our browser, is out of the container. So let's set the width and height. So I just set the height to 350 pixels. Now I'm going to set the width to 100%. Okay, object fit. Oh, that's a mistake. Object fit to cover. You can see what I'm talking about. So if you click on this, this is what you will see here. If you click on any of it, this is what you will see. That's the logic behind the use state. It's used to control the details window. Okay. And this is small. Why? Let's see. The color set to black. Let me see. Font width of 600 pixels, big now. Okay, let's compare. It's the same thing as what we're trying to build now. Now let's move to the, we're almost done. Let's move to the feedback. This is still big on the over effect, and in here is not big at all. So I think I made a mistake. Okay, this portfolio. Okay, the color here, let me set it to black. The portfolio title itself, not the items. Okay, this should take titles because they're now quite confused. Okay, now we have it right now. Okay, I need to add margin bottom, not top. I'll set it to 30 pixels. Here, right, it's working. Now to the feedback component. So we're going to create feedback.jsx and feedback.css. Okay, we have RFC and we would import our CSS folder, the CSS file. Okay, and we'll include it in our app.gsx. Okay, now let's clear this up and let's start with our HTML structure. We're going to have an h5 tag for client review, and we're also going to have an h3 tag for customers feedback. Okay, and what else? And we're going to have a new div tag for customers itself. Now we're going to map. This is what we're working on. Let's see. Oh, sorry, let's move up. So we're going to map over the feedback array. So let's import the data first. Okay, so we're going to map over the feedback array, which already stored in our data.gsx, and it's going to take four props: image, name, company, and comment. Okay, then we'll use our destructuring syntax to destructure the image, the name, the company, and the comments inside the maps function callback. Okay, so we use this arrow function and it will return the properties that we have destructured. So now we're creating an HTML structure for this, so we can return the properties. So this is going to return the image property. Okay, and we'll create another div for the info, which is going to contain the name, that's the name of the client or customers, I don't know what you call it. Then it's also going to return the company. Then we're going to create another div tag that would return the comments. For the ratings as well, we're going to return the ratings. Then we're going to return the comments. And we're going to resize this image later. It's looking so big. So let's start with styling. We'll start the feedback. The padding, we're going to set it to 5 pixels. Left and right, 85. Top, bottom. Then the height of 25 VH, margin top of 200 pixels. Then we'll start with the H5. Dot feedback H5. We're going to set the font size to 20 pixels. Oh, okay, you can see that. Okay, then the H3 is going to be a little bigger than the H5, so let's do 35 pixels. It's big enough. Okay, then we'll continue with this span. We want to change the color to orange. And now to this customers. Okay, that is the where our content is. The margin top of 30 pixels, display, let it be flex, and the gap, let's set it to 40 pixels. And also now to the So what we're going to return, okay, after we've mapped, which is the items, display flex direction, let it be colon, and the gap of 20 pixels. Let's set the border to 2 pixels solid orange. That's what we want on the border, and the border is of 10 pixels. The padding, let's set it to 30 pixels, and the cursor pointer transition of all 0.3 seconds is okay. Now let's copy this. We're going to paste it. So I would paste that, and okay, as you can see, this is this on the border. Okay, so we want to transform to 1.1. That's when you hover on it. When you hover on it, you want to see a dash. You see, as you can see, okay, I need to add over. Okay, so if you hover on it, it's going to transform on a scale of 1.1. So let's start this user item itself. So the feedback, the customers, the item, the user. Okay, display flex, align items center, and let's add gap of 10 pixels between each of them. And now to the image, it's too big. We need to resize the image. So I'm going to set the width to 40 pixels and the height to 40 pixels as well. Object fits, cover, and the border radius of 50%. Okay, so this is what we have now. As you can see, if we hover on it, we have the dashed. This is what we're trying to build. This is what we currently have. Okay. So next is to style this H5 tag. Copy this H5, and the font size we're going to set it to 13 pixels. The font weight is going to be 500, and margin bottom of 3 pixels. Okay. Another tag here, we have the P tag, so we need to style it as well. Let's set the font size to be 12 pixels. Okay. This is what we're trying to build. I think it's looking okay. We've achieved this. So cancel. Next thing on the list is the contact. So create the contact components. I'll create the contacts.css as well. RFCA to create our functional component. Okay. So we're going to import this contact.css. So I'll clear that up and create a div tag, div.contact. The class name is contact. Then we give it an ID of contact as well. Okay. Now div.contact, we start with the header. Okay. Get in touch for H2. And div.contact info. Okay. We have the left and the right. Okay. So we're going to include it in our app.jsx, this contact. So we have added this to contact. Now the contact component itself. So we'll add the H2 tag. Okay, so this is going to have let's connect, let's talk. Okay, I'm going to delete this. Now it's looking okay. Next thing is the P tag. I'll copy this and paste it here. Okay, and we're going to have a div, another div tag for the contact details, which will contain the email, phone number, and the location. Okay, so I'll use the P tag for the email. Let me copy this and paste here. Then the phone number, copy it as well. Copy this div tag and let's turn it to 3. So we're going to copy this tag, paste it here, and we'll copy this location as well and paste it here. Then in React icons from front awesome version 6, let me look for envelope. Then I'll copy this alone, paste it on top, then copy this tag, then add it to our HTML structure for the envelope icon. I'm also going to search for the phone icon, and I'll select this one, copy the phone tag, paste it here, and I'll copy this file because they have the same version. Okay, then I would search for location, and I'll choose this as my location. Okay, copy, paste, then copy this, copy the entire code here and paste it here. Okay, there's difference. Okay, and this is what we have now. So on the right side, we're going to create another div tag, and we'll give it a name, container input, which is going to contain the text input, and we're going to give it a placeholder of email address. Copy, paste, we'll change this to subject. That's the subject of the email the potential client will send. Then the message, create another div for message, and it will have a text area of message. I'm going to clear this ID, then this is going to have message on top of it. So this is what we have now. Okay, so we create another div for button, then we have our button, which is send message. So if we check this now, that is the button. Now let's style it. The contact, we're going to set the height to 30 VH, the width, I'm going to set it to 100%, margin top of 200 pixels, so you can move down. Okay, the next thing is the contact header. I'm going to set the contact header. I'm going to add text align, I want it to be in the center. Then the font size, font weight of 500, font size of 30 pixels, margin bottom of 20 pixels. So this is what we have now. Okay, now for the contact info, I'll copy this and paste it here. The contact info, we want it to display grid template column 1FR. So 1FR, okay, can you see? So this is what we have now. Then we'll start with the left. So for the left, we're going to have some margin left of 120 pixel, width of 90%, and the left, the h2 tag in the left container is going to take a font size of 30 pixels, and the contact details in the left is going to display grid template column 1FR, and we're going to add a gap of 20 pixels. So now we have this, I think. Okay, so now we're going to start the details. Okay, so it's going to display flex. All right, this gap should take 20 pixels, and yeah, let's see. Then the contact body itself, the paragraph tag in the contact container is going to take a font size of 16 pixels. So can you see that? Next is to style the right side, which is the contact in that contains the contact input. We'll start with the text. So the text input, that's the input. Then the message for this other one. But message, the text area, we're going to set the width to 90% and set the border to none. Then we're going to have border button border bottom of 1 pixel solid black. Then we'll have margin right of 40 pixels. So this is what we have currently, but this is what we're trying to build. This is what we have now. Next thing is to set this text input. We need to set the height to 50 pixels. Okay. Now it's looking like what we're trying to build. So we're done with that. Next thing is the footer. So we'll create the footer component, footer.gsx, footer.csx file. Then footer refce. Then we'll import the footer.css file into our footer.gsx. Now we'll clear this up and we'll start with the div for footer. Then we have our footer top and div.footer the bottom. Okay. So, and we'll also have for footer the copyright side. So we'll have footer copy. So for the top, we're going to have an HR tag that would separate the three. So now in the top container, we're going to have an H2 tag, which is let's connect. And we're going to have a button that says I am in. And for the bottom, the footer bottom, we're going to have a description, the div container that will contain a description. So we'll have our H3 Chloe Gate, and we're going to have our P tag. This is going to be our P tag. So, and also we need to add our footer to our app.gsx so we can view it on our browser. Okay, so this is for the. Now the next thing we need to do is to create another div tag inside the footer bottom, which will contain the footer links. We have navigation for our H3. Then we'll create a list and give it links as the name. Then we'll create 5 lists, 5 list items. We have home, about me, services. Then we have resume, and we have portfolio. Okay, that's what we have in our resume list. In the list here, so we create another div class for the contact links. So we have contacts, then we have lists, and each list item we're creating 3. So in each list item we're going to have phone number, the website, and the email. So we create another input, another div for input. So we'll have subscribe to my newsletter. Okay, then we'll have another div for the newsletter container, which will contain the input field. So we have input, there's a text field, and the placeholder will be enter email. Next thing is to create a button, enter. Now to the footer copy, which will contain the copyright, we'll create a div for copy left. Then we'll have the P tag to create copyright for 2024. Okay, then Chloe Gates we'll add there. So we'll add all rights reserved. That is just normal structure. And next thing is to create another div for the copy, the right side of the copyright. I don't know if you get that, but you will see it in action when we start to style it. So we have terms and condition, and we have privacy policy. Okay, now policy. Okay, so this is what we have right now. So the only thing we need to do is to style. So we'll start the footer container itself. We'll set the height to 70 VH. the margin top to be 200 pixels, background we want it to be black, and border radius of 30 pixels. So now the next thing we need to know is the footer top. So we're going to do display flex, and we'll set justify space around. We need space around this. Space between should work better, so I've changed that to space between. Then the top, the h2 tag for the top, we're going to set the margin left to 30 pixels, margin top to 30 pixels as well. The color should be white because our background is black, and the button, we're going to have width of 150 pixels and height of 50 pixels, and we'll set the font size of the text in the button to 18 pixels. The font weight will be 600, and the margin right, let's set it to 30 pixels, and border radius of 25 pixels. Okay, so the color, we're going to add white, and we're going to have our margin top, we'll set it to 30 pixels as well. So the background is going to be orange. So this is what we have now. Okay. Yeah, another thing we need to work on is our HR tag, because we have HR tag in each of our horizontal line. The width, we set it to 90, the margin left 40 pixels, the margin top, let's set it to 20 pixels. And the next thing is the footer bottom, the bottom side. Okay. Display, let's do grid. So grid template column, repeat for 1FR. Let's see, let's set the color to column gap of 20 pixels. Yeah, margin top of 20 pixels as well. Then for this description, we're going to have margin left of 20 pixels, color white, the color of the text will be white, and we're going to have width of 400 pixels. So for the description, p tag in the description container, I'm going to set the font size to 18 pixels. For this description, h3, there's also an h3 tag in it. Set the margin bottom to 20 pixels. Then the description h3 span tag, we're going to set the color to orange, which is the name actually, Chloe Gate. Okay. Then the footer link for h3, I will set the contact link as well, the h3 tag, and then the input, the h3 tag in the input. We want to set the color to orange, and we're setting the margin bottom to 20 pixels. Then the footer links, the list in the footer links, the list in the contact list, we're going to do list out none. Then the line height of 2.5 rem. Then we'll set the font weight to 500, and we'll set the color to white. So for the input field, the input field container, we'll set the display to flex. Then this input field, for the input tag itself, we're going to set the width to 270 pixels, height, we're going to set it to 40 pixels, and the border radius to 10 pixels. This value, we're going to set it to this. Okay. And for this input field, the placeholder, we're going to set the font size to 14 pixels, the font weight to 500, and the input field button, the button in the input field, that's a mistake. Okay, we're going to set the width to 80 pixels. The height, we're going to set it to 45 pixels. And the font size to 18 pixels. The font width, we're going to set it to 600. And the margin right to 50 pixels. Background of orange, that's for the button. And border radius of this value. Okay, so this is what we have now. Next thing is the footer, the copyright container. So display is going to be flex, the file contents, space between, margin top of 20 pixels. The color we're setting it to white since our background is black. The copyright, the left side, we're going to set the margin left to 20 pixels. And the span tag of the copyright left is going to be orange. Next is the copyright side for the right hand side. Display is flex. We're going to add a margin right of 20 pixels, and it's the same thing as what we're trying to do. So this is it. We're done with this. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you for viewing. Thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.